focus all your time on your dogs and what you're doing with your program, you won't have no time worried about what the next man is doing. Okay, we got OG Loco. We got OG Loco on this one. And he's going to explain his experience with the Michael Myers line crossed in with the old family red nose. This is going to be epic. Check it out.
I got, come here, girl. Come here. I don't know if you guys can see her. What I want to talk about are my old family red Mayday dogs. And I got Brindle Bell right here. Let me see if I can get her out here this morning with me. Say hi. Say hi. So Brindle Bell, she got that Scooby-Doo head on her. You know, she's, I think, a year old. She's by OG Loco, out of OG Loco's Cajun Bell. So she's 3/4 old family red, 1/4 Mayday off of the Malkamp Michael Myers dog. And she's turned out to be a good dog. I really like her. She's out here this morning with me. Go ahead, go play. So I was doing a podcast yesterday with a friend. And, you know, I have different blends on my yard. I got the pure OG Loco dogs. I got the OG Loco dogs with Mayday in them. Both heavy on the old family red blood with the Mayday out. And then heavy on the Mayday blood with the old family red out. So they go both directions. Then I got the same thing with the Chinaman stuff. The heavy old family red with the Chinaman out. Then I got the red boy stuff. Old family red with the red boy stuff. Well, my friend was asking me, well, which one of your dogs are, which ones are standing out? And, I started thinking about it because when you're starting these new crosses, it takes a while before you start getting a pattern of, it's not just one dog. It's not just two dogs. It's consistency in a blend. And is that blend a 3/4, 1/4, 7/8, 1/8? Is it a 50-50? Those are the blends in the blood and the pedigree. Which ones are working best for you, or at least what you can see a pattern on. And I do have a 7/8, 1/8, 7/8 old family red, 1/8 Mayday through the Malkamp Michael Myers dog on the yard. She's still young. But when I look at the 3/4, 1/4, not only on my yard, but on other yards of the dogs I sold that are working at a very high level, the 3/4 old family red with the 1/4 out on the Mayday Michael Myers blood. And Michael Myers, his blend is a little different than a lot of Mayday dogs. What I think is clicking in that formula, Michael Myers was heavily line bred. Mayday to his sister, his littermate sister, was a lady doll. I think they were both littermates. And then he was bred to a daughter of Grand Champion Buck, which is a pure Patrick dog. So that blend in Michael Myers, when you look at his pedigree, genetically is a really nice blend. One of the reasons I bred to him was when you look at it, he was probably one of the better bred Mayday dogs I was able to get my hands on. And I was fortunate to breed to him before he passed away. So when you look at that pedigree blended in with my old family red reds are really tightly bred on the old Hemphill Klaus, Hemphill Wilder blood. Okay, which were basically Leitner dogs, heavily on the Leitner breed. And then the Klaus blood that's in them too. And if you go far back enough in both Buck and Mayday and Lady Doll, they have a lot of that Klaus, that Hempfield Klaus blood in them, blended in with the Tudor Daigle blood. So what I think happens is, because my old family reds for 35 years are very tightly family bred, like stacked on generations of each other, all within one family. You know, you have a high concentration of those genetics. You get a pure source of genetics out of those dogs. And then when you cross it into dogs like the Michael Myers, which had the Mayday and the buck blood in them, those genes are clicking. So the way genes work, you got hundreds of genes in the sire and the dam. So let's say, 5 genes from the sire, 5 genes from the dam. And this is how a combination works. What you're looking for is a click. On the sire, well, let's say which is Michael Myers, it's, 2 or 3 of these genes are coming from Mayday, and 2 genes are coming from Buck, okay? And those dogs go back to Daibo and Klaus and Bolio type blood. And then on my female side, which are Hempfield Klaus, Hempfield Wilder, you got these genes. So what you're hoping is when you breed these two, that those genes line up, so you get like in the stream of DNA stream, that those genes randomly line up, so they're compatible, they click. It's what we call a click. And that's why some dogs, some breedings work, some breedings don't, is they didn't click. But when they're clicking, because what we've done with the old family red is we reduce the variability. I know my old family reds are pretty much going back to the 44 Magnum dog. There's not a lot of variation in his gene pool. So they're going to pull heavy from those dogs. And all those dogs back to 1990 in my hands are working dogs. So I know they have the working ability, they're game, they have good prey drive. I know what those dogs are about. And so what you're hoping that breeding clicked. Well, it clicked, okay? So the Michael Myers stuff is what we're seeing is clicking, and the 3/4, 1/4 is working. And those dogs, they're starting to look a little different too. What I'm seeing is they're taller, they're leaner. They look a lot like the buck dog, in my opinion, but some are brindle, some are red, and some are red brindle. So have you all seen pictures of STP's Grand Champion Buck? They're starting to resemble that dog that I'm seeing, at least in my breedings. They got some leg on them. I breed all my dogs. I feed all my dogs the same. Some of them are stocky. They easy keepers. Some are hard keepers. What I'm seeing with these Mayday full family reds, they're tall, lean dogs. Very athletic looking. And they're finishers. And that's the one thing that I think is standing out. Is that 3/4, 1/4 are finishers, hog hunting finishers, that different females that I use different old family red females, they're producing the same type of dog. So Brindle Bell is one of those. I'm hoping the next year, she's starting to come in her own. She's still very puppyish. But that's one of the things I wanted to share with people is what I'm seeing, that what I feel is working best coming off my yard at a very high level for hog hunting and hunting just in general is this 3/4 old family red with the 1/4 Mayday out off the Michael Myers stuff. That I'm seeing a pattern, I'm seeing a trend. Those are just good, solid bulldogs, man. They just work. And they got the tools to get the job done on the roughest hogs. So that's something I see. So we're doing some things with that blood. I'm breeding it pure to where heavy on the old family red. We'll get to an 8 to 16 or even 132nd out on the Mayday blood and Michael Myers blood. And then I'll have to decide, how I mix it up again once I get that tight. But I'm getting a new pup who's coming from OG family. And she's going to be bred the other way off the same bloods, where she's heavier on the Mayday blood with just a little old family red out off my dogs. So getting her back on my yard, she again is the Michael Myers with the old family red, but I think she's 3/4 Michael Myers, 1/4 old family red. And then bringing her back to my yard to breed into my heavy 3/4 old family red, 1/4 Michael Myers. On the genetic spectrum, well, they're in the same family, so same blood, but they're at opposite ends of the genetic spectrum. So it's not like tight inbreeding. It is going to give me some genetic diversity, even though they're the same family. They're bred at the different ways. So if you go back to how it lines up, like she will be like, let's say four of the DNA is Mayday Michael Myers, one is old family red, and where 4 of the DNA is heavy old family red and one is Michael Myers. So it's going to line up like that, and it's going to give you some diversity. And I should get hybrid vigor and keep it going. I could keep it going all being within the same family of dogs. When you're stacking genes, meaning like now we're 20, 30 times 44 Magnum, like in the gene pool, they're stacked. Now, these dogs are going to pull heavy from the 44 Magnum dog and little Keisha. So you're hoping those recessive genes in some of your older dogs that are way back in the gene pool, by doing this family breeding, you're pulling out those traits. So if it's working and they're clicking, those traits that little Keisha was known for, the intelligent, the deep gameness, the working ability, should be showing up in these pups that are 5, 6 generations later. And that's what family breeding does. Okay. As a breeder working with a small spectrum of dogs for over 35 years, I have firsthand knowledge that I can say, I see that trait in these pups because I knew its great-great-grandmother because I held her in my hands. I worked her. I see those same traits, and it trips you out sometimes. You're like, wow, man. It's like in your family, God, he looks like grandpa or great-grandpa. It skipped a couple of generations. And where's that coming from? Well, you see that in the dogs, too. You see that some of these dogs are very much, in many ways, like the dogs I had 20, 30 years ago, that some of those traits still show up. But through outcrossing, I've introduced new genes from the Mayday and the Chinaman and the Red Boy. So these new genes make them better. Okay, you've introduced new genetics to your dog and you blended them in. And the way that works is, let's say my old dogs were really game, very intelligent, but they didn't have the hard mouth or finishing ability. Well, I've introduced that now. Okay, I introduced that with the Mayday and the Chinaman blood. And I blended it in, so I get dogs that are heavy on my blood, the old family red blood, but now they have new genes from Chinaman and Mayday that were introduced to them that brings that hard mouth finishing ability, and I get a better dog. And we were talking about this yesterday. Are the dogs today better than they were 20 years ago? Yes, they are. And I see it on my yard.